Hello and welcome to Bat Flips and Nerds, the baseball podcast with a British twist. We are back after a short hiatus. Apologies for the large gap between podcasts, but we've got a terrific four-hander on deck for you today. Joining me, Ben Carter, we have got Rob Navarra. Rob, how are you?
Hello, I'm superb. I feel like every time we do this, we always end up apologising for the big gaps. So, anticipate another big gap, even though we'll say there won't be one. There probably will, but we're sorry anyway.
Very true. Also joining us, Russell Eason. Russell, how are you? Not hot in Wales though, is it, Darius?
It's not. It's a perfectly normal, balmy 21 degrees here, pretty much. So, doing fine over here. Move to Wales, everybody.
There you go.
Yeah.
Move to Wales. Keep cool. Well, we've got, obviously a lot of baseball that we could talk about because we've missed quite a bit of it over the last couple of months. But we thought we'd put a bit of a spin on it today rather than just talking through all the storylines that are weeks old now. We're going to go through some of the teams that are looking more competitive than the others and kind of rate their basically chances in the postseason or how confident we are about their chances in the postseason. There will also be a Pokemon element to it that we'll get to, so apologies in advance for that. But maybe we'll kick off with a couple of things that have happened a bit closer to home since we last podcasted. Let's start with MLB Hackney. I know we were pretty poorly attended at that one as a podcast. I was able to make it down on the Sunday afternoon.
Well done.
And check it out, and it was really cool. I know it was a couple of weeks ago now of time of recording, but from what I could see, well attended in the afternoon. I heard from others that it was like absolutely heaving on the Saturday night. I think Sean, our friend who edits the site and obviously is a big Cubs fan, he was there on Saturday and said it was absolutely rammed. Loads and loads of people there, drinking, eating, enjoying, watching some baseball, which is a great sign because it was a big venue. So I think to fill that out is credit to MLB, and it looked really cool. The 4 different areas for the teams. There were branded bars. There was a bunch of different activities and activations taking place, batting cages, diving into foam pits, that kind of stuff. Lots of kids there taking part, which is always encouraging to see. I only hung around for a few hours, saw Big Nick Swisher on stage. He was judging a DJ battle, which...
Why not?
I wish I could explain better having watched it, but even being there in person was a bit confusing. But you know what Nick Swisher's like? He was just dancing around on stage for like 10 minutes whilst music played.
Presumably he was as enthusiastic about this as he is about everything else.
Exactly, yeah. So it still very much worked. But it was kind of like watching Nick Swisher lip sync to various rap songs from the 90s. So that was fun.
Cash money for that.
But I don't know if obviously neither of you guys attended, but did you see any of the stuff about it on social? Did you feel like it landed in any meaningful way, just from what you could see across Twitter, Instagram, anywhere else? What were your thoughts from a distance, if you did catch any of it?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it on socials. It looked like a fantastic day, and I honestly did sort of have that kind of FOMO feeling when I was looking at it, which I think was a good thing, because if you can't go, you want to think, why, I wish I was there. It did make me think about last year and the wonderful time we all had at the Mets-Phillies game in London, and the fact we obviously don't have that this year. So it was kind of sad to see, it was going on and I wasn't there, but that's fantastic because baseball needs to grow and keep going regardless of whether or not I'm there personally to witness it. Were any of the 4 areas like busier or less busy? Like what was your vibe on the who was a popular team?
It was, it's interesting. There definitely were busier and less busy areas, partly just because of the way it was laid out. Like the Yankees had the batting cage in their area, and everyone wanted to have a go in the batting cage, so there's always lots of people there. And there was a bar next to it, so they probably had prime position team-wise, plus, they're the Yankees. Dodgers had good position, but their like activation area, I think, was some kind of like photo booth activation that wasn't very popular, so there were less people queuing up for that. Giants had a diving catch thing, and then the Red Sox were a bit hidden away, but they had another sort of batting cage thing, so that also seemed pretty popular, but you couldn't really like sit and hang out around there. Of the jerseys I saw, and actually MLB Europe did a video where they found all 30 jerseys over the weekend, which is impressive. Another Rockies fan. I want to shake that man's hand. But of the bits that I saw, the Giants were the best represented in terms of team jerseys. There's a whole host of them sitting in the Giants section. Darius, you obviously weren't there in person, but your team was represented well. What did you think of it? And I guess one thing I thought going into the weekend was maybe this is going to be our announcement for next year's game, right? They're going to say at some point over the weekend, like, next year we're bringing the Blue Jays and the Rays or whatever it might be. But they didn't. So I'm now thinking, should we be concerned they haven't yet announced 2026's London game opponents? Or do you think this is all part of the master plan?
We are starting to get towards the point where you'd think they'd want to be hyping it, get people to buy tickets. As you say, it felt like, let's tell everybody here, oh, we're announcing tickets, sign up for the pre-sale. Here's your link, get that interest up. So the fact that they haven't is, mildly concerning. There's still time, obviously, but after what happened in Paris, I guess there's a little bit of concern. I don't think we've got the same issue there as we have in London, because obviously they have already established a venue and run 3 successful games there. So hopefully it's nothing more than that. They just want to wait a little bit longer to confirm some details. But it did feel slightly like a missed opportunity to get this sort of hype around it. Say, look at all these people here at this event, obviously interested in baseball. I am part of the Giants Facebook group, the UK Giants, and there was quite a lot of chatter in that about who's going down this Sunday. Quite a lot of people organised, I think, in advance to pop along. So clearly that played out in terms of the attendance on the day, which is good to see.
That explains it.
Actually, speaking of that, can I sidebar for a moment about Facebook groups? I was in Homebase. No, sorry, not Homebase. That's no longer a thing. I was in the bit of the range now, which still has the Homebasey stuff. I was looking for some stuff to fertilise my chili plants, which are going very well. Thanks for asking. And a bloke came up to me in a Marin, and he wasn't wearing a Mariners hat, was it? But he came up to me and he said, and I happened to be wearing a Cubs hat, not this one, but a different Cubs hat. And he said, "Do you know what that hat is?" Kind of slightly aggressively. And I said, "Yes, actually, but I'm not a Cubs fan. I'm a Rays fan." And turns out he was a bloke called Ray who has Rays gear because he's called Ray, but he was a Mariners fan, and he's part of a great big Mariners fan group. And there was a meetup. This was maybe 2-3 weeks ago. There was a meetup in London, so I'm sure there is at least one of those Mariners people listening. So if you do, please say hello to Ray and shake his hand. And good job for. Sounds like there's a lot of Mariners gathering and chatting. So like the Facebook groups are out there, and people should go and meet them. And that was the first, very, very kind of passive aggressive kind of, what your hat means, like we all kind of want to say to the Yankees fan you see sitting at a bus stop, but like this bloke did it. So fair play to Ray, the Mariners fan, wherever you are. And I hope you had a lovely weekend. But please continue.
Good shout out to Ray. I think I did see about that Mariners meetup because Bernie, who I know is the one Mariners fan I do know very well, I think was attending that one and had promoted it and stuff. So yeah, the Mariners are well represented. And actually, I'll use your story for a sidebar of my own because you brought up Ray, the Mariners fan. So I think I've probably told this story on the podcast before, but do you know the reason why the Rays on Twitter aren't at Rays, they're at Rays Baseball? The reason is because there's a man out there whose name is Ray S, and he got that handle first, and despite being offered an extortionate amount of money by Major League Baseball to give up the handle, he straight up refused. And I feel like they maybe had the same issue with like twins.com. Like just literally a couple of guys who are twins, were like, I don't want to give up my domain. So again, they had to be really creative and get around it. So a couple of funny stories just on how, sometimes your team name can run into a man called Ray S who does not want to give up his Twitter handle.
I am finding Mr. Ray and following him.
Quickly on the topic of team meetups, I think we should use this as a chance to plug the fact that some of the Cubs fans are getting together this Saturday. I know that's being organised by Sean again, who is setting up a meeting at Passyunk Avenue this Saturday, August 16th, the one at Waterloo, with Bleacher Jeff, who I'm told is a Cubs superfan in attendance. I can't say I know him personally, but apparently very nice guy. So if there are any Cubs fans listening especially, do get along. But even anyone who's not a Cubs fan but is free Saturday evening and wants to watch baseball with fellow fans, I can vouch for them being a good bunch. So do, pop along, say hello, have a beer, watch a game, and hang out. And obviously if anyone else is organising meetups, then let us know. We're obviously trying to get word out about any of these baseball hangs. Rob, you look like you've got something to tell us about Ray S.
I do have something to tell you about Ray S. A couple of things. First of all, the Tampa Bay Rays follow Ray S. Secondly, despite me not even knowing he existed, I am blocked by Ray S, so I can see nothing else about Ray S. So that's it's a very small group, but it's now Ray S and Kevin Kiermaier who have blocked me. So
do you think that's
that
because
a badge of pride?
Is that because of the years of you tweeting at Rays with disgust a morning after a loss, not realizing you were tweeting at Ray S?
Oh, it could be. Or all those times I was telling Kevin Kiermaier to take his shirt off. Yeah. Could be.
Or the Logan Morrison incident.
He just got jealous about it, so it's, yeah. Let's not go there. The court cases aren't going.
I really didn't know how to segue this, but let's talk about something different. I was hoping Ross has dropped off the call.
I've got a story about segways. My stepmom managed to fall off of a segway. She was told it could not go over, yet she was stood there and the thing went over just like... she will never listen to this, so that's a good thing. But nobody but this woman could fall off a segway whilst perfectly still. Sorry, carry on.
No, I'm glad you interjected with that story. Russell's dropped off our call. I was hoping he'd be back on because the next point I had was around the GB under-23s winning the Euros. It's coming home. It's come home, which obviously is huge news. They beat the Czech Republic in the final, who I believe were the fairly heavy favourites going into the tournament. So a really big win for the programme. I was hoping Russell would be here because, hands up, I didn't actually watch any of this tournament or final, so I don't feel particularly qualified to speak to how well they played or which guys stood out, but I do know it was a comeback victory in the final and that it obviously bodes particularly well for the future of British baseball. Did either of you guys manage to catch any of this game or any of the tournament? Can you speak any more to it than what I can by reading the recap afterwards?
I saw some highlights. I didn't watch anything live, I want to say, but fantastic news. Obviously, we've seen quite an uptick in interest in British baseball, and I think this is the kind of thing you'd expect to see from a burgeoning program. I think being in Czechia against the favourites and managing to win that final is a pretty impressive feat. So I think hopefully this bodes really well for future teams to beat the best in Europe on their own home field, and hopefully this portends more success for the main squad in the future.
I saw a little bit of it. I must admit I didn't really know that much about what I was watching. I don't know these guys. I want to know these guys. I mean, if these are the guys who are, I don't know where they're from. I don't know how British they are. I don't know how much they're imports. But it was. I caught it whilst I was supposed to be working, and had it on a secondary tab in the background. And yeah, absolutely, it was fun. It was really fun stuff. But yeah, I want to know more about these guys, and I think part of the difficulty right now is finding out more about these guys. So give it to me. Yeah, put it in my veins. I'm ready for it. Let's find out these guys, because if there is a criticism about British baseball and how well we've done in the World Baseball Classic and all that, it's all imports. How many of these guys are properly British? What I'm hoping is that some of these guys are they're born and bred and they're working towards it from around here. So I don't know much about them, but I want to hear more. Like, whoever's got that information, just get it to us. We'll get it on the website. We want to know it, please.
Yeah, seconded. I dare say, some of these guys, if not in time for WBC next year, but certainly at some point will be graduating to the senior level and representing GB, obviously on the full national stage. But I think, to win a tournament of this caliber shows tremendous progress. So congrats to everyone involved. And good luck for future such tournaments. Let's move on then to the game stateside. We obviously wanted to talk baseball, lots of things going on. I think, as mentioned at the top, as a kind of vehicle for our conversation, we're going to try and look at each of the playoff contenders, postseason contenders, and kind of rate our level of confidence in them. I suggested on a scale of 1 to 10 or 20 to 80, but right before we recorded, Rob came out with a shocking take that we told him to say for the podcast. Rob, you want us to avoid 2080. Why?
I just hate 2080. It's stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I know it's something to do with standard deviations, which, let's face it, no one in real life has anything to do with. So we don't really know what 2080 is. So, okay, fine. If it's going to go from 2080, let's say, this guy's a 32, a 37. No. We can only do 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80, which is stupid. So fine. Well, let's do 1 to 100. But again, we don't do 53. So why have they got zeros on the end? Why don't we just do 1 to 10? So It's just a stupid scoring. The fact that you have to know something about it before you can understand what's going on is just rubbish. It should be a case of A to F, 1 to 10, whatever. I don't. But like 20 to 80 is the stupid brainchild of someone who thought they were cleverer than everyone else in the room, and they've just come across as a bit of a twat. So no to 2080. I am the 1 to 10 scale, please, or an A to F, whichever everybody else wants. But I am resisting 80-20.
I'm going to unfairly throw it to you here, Darius. You did not invent this system by any means, but do you want to provide some kind of rebuttal on behalf of the baseball scouting community for why 20 to 80 is, at least in some circumstances, a good tool with which to measure things?
Well, I suppose, it's a construct like anything. We decided that 0 was lowest and 100 was the highest for a lot of scales because we just made it up, right?
Well, no, because 0 means nothing. That makes sense. Yeah, 20 doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah, but it does
0,
for scouts. I think this is just exposing the.
But why does 20 mean nothing?
Making sense of anything. I think it is a standard deviation thing. I don't know what the origin is. I think Branch Rickey is supposed to have created it, but I'm not sure the story of why Branch said, I don't want 0 to be bad, I want 20.
It is genuinely to do with standard deviations, and that if you go to 80, you're at 99.7 something percent. So the extra 0.3% really doesn't matter. But like, nobody works in standard deviations. That's rubbish. No one's ever worked in standard deviations.
Clearly, Branch Rickey did.
Well, Branch Rickey can suck my branch. We'll
I don't disagree with Rob. Having to learn like what this means, when you could just use something that everybody understands in the first place, does feel a little bit like gatekeepery. This is our thing. We need to have our own scale for this, which is just like the same as a regular scale, but we cut the ends off. It's a slightly odd way to think about things, but it's also not really very complicated to learn. 50 is still the middle, and 20 is bad and 80 is great. So, yeah.
Fine. Can we do 15 to 87, please?
Yeah. Okay. I want all Rob's ratings between 15 and 87.
15 to 87 scale. There we go. Decided.
Well, I'm glad we got to this debate before we even started talking about any of the actual teams.
And also upset some mathematicians out there, probably.
I was going to say, there definitely are some people who do work in standard deviations, but they're not here to.
Because I'm scared of the mathematicians. Come at me. Come on. Yeah, all right.
Next London series, mathematicians. Come find Rob.
I'm generally on Team Rob for this, but I do think a very cool, baseball thing to say is grade 80 about anything, just because it's, better.
Grade 100 would be cooler.
Sure, maybe.
I think 80 grade sounds better than 100 grade. I don't know, maybe rolls off the tongue a bit easier.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
right, whatever.
We're going to use a scale
15
of
to 87,
15 to 87 to rate with what level our confidence stands with regards to these teams that are in postseason contention. So, do we believe in those teams that are currently looking good to make it to the playoffs? Do we think they're pretenders? Do we think they're built for the postseason? Are they going to fold at the first sign of a big, scary crowd and the bright lights of October? The way I've kind of cut this off is if you're more than 3 games out of a wildcard spot, you will not make it into our discussion, just because I don't want to sit here and talk about 25 teams. And also, if you're more than 3 games out at this point, you're probably not making it, but again, I might have to bite my tongue.
I assume it's because you want to annoy the Rangers fans again.
Exactly, you're picking on the Texas Rangers.
Well, if that's the way you want to read into it. So, sorry, Rangers
totally
fans,
average
about
teams, so yeah.
We'll go through each team, talk a bit about how we feel about them, what level of confidence we give them, and then we sparked a little chat in our WhatsApp group about Pokemon. Mostly because, like many others out there, I'm sure, I saw the video of Jacob Misiorowski, Brewers rookie, opening a pack of Pokemon cards, and he packed a Charizard, which I'll admit I didn't know much about other than Charizard's cool Pokemon. Good save, Darius. It turns out that Charizard's an immensely rare Pokemon card. I think it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, so not that Jacob Misiorowski really needs it, but that video went viral for, Pokemon reasons. Turns out it was a divisive subject in our WhatsApp group. Rob's going to probably give us an explanation of why when we ask him for his Pokemon choices, some of these teams. But we thought we'd have some fun with it and kind of pick a Pokemon that represents each of these teams, or at least the way we feel about them, which, I'm not sure it's going to go that well, but we'll try. Let's kick things off, shall we?
Positivity.
I'll just clarify. I'm on the list of the 10 most expensive Charizard Pokemon cards on cardcollector.co.uk.
Go on.
A 1999 first edition holographic base set Charizard, a PSA 10, which I believe is the highest quality grade of card you can get, recently sold for $420,000.
Owned by
That's
us.
insane.
If you are at home and you've got some old Pokemon cards kicking around, and some of them are looking pretty good condition, and they've got a Charizard on them, then get yourself down to your nearest card auction house now and make yourself some money.
I have to admit, my views on cards generally is pretty similar to Rob's view on the 2080 scale. I won't go into it now, but like, who is paying that for a Charizard card? Anyway, let's get on with the team chat. Let's start, I guess, stereotypically in the AL East. Robin, not going to be talking about your Rays. They didn't make the cut. I guess we can do a podcast on the sad, disappointing teams another time. But let's start with the Jays instead, who have been pretty surprising, to me at least, in terms of the run of form they've been on lately. How do you see them? What is your confidence level? And do you have a Pokemon for the Jays?
Mm-hmm. Are you addressing me?
Yeah, sorry, that's for you.
Okay, very good. The Jays have been fantastic. There is no doubt about the Jays being fantastic. I don't know how much I believe it, which is stupid because I think at the moment they're tied second best record in the majors right now. It's really come out of nowhere. I don't think you'd speak to many people pre-season this year and say, "Do you think the Blue Jays are going to be the best team in the American League?" They go, "Yeah, sure, yeah, absolutely." I mean, you would probably put 3 or maybe 4 of the teams in that division ahead of the Blue Jays. I think there was a element of calling for them to be the bottom, if not second bottom in that division. And here they are absolutely demolishing it. I don't know how much that's to do with a bit of sequencing luck. If we look at run differential, which I personally sort of tend to think is a decent barometer of where a team should be, they are well behind. They're sort of more level with the Rays, who are languishing deservedly well down in 4th place. So I don't have an awful lot of faith in the Blue Jays. It's all coming together, but no, really. I think they're obviously going to make the postseason at this point, but will they survive long in that? I just can't see where that's coming from. So I've put them down as washing machine tissue man being the Pokemon that I have against them. As their pocket monsters, I assume they're all things that come out your pocket. So a tissue that's been, and they're kind of just sort of disintegrate a little bit once they get into the real hard washing bit of the season. Yeah, washing machine tissue man.
I'm glad I don't have to sit here and work out which of the Pokemon you meant by washing machine tissue man.
I'm not. I mean, you know what? I'm gonna. Whilst you're talking, I'm gonna look up pictures of Pokemon and see if I can work out which one I think looks most like washing machine tissue man. By the way, pocket monster sounds like a horrendous euphemism. But carry on.
Darius, are you a blue lever? Do you think the Jays are for real?
Not like winning the AL East real, no. The pitching is kind of bad. Like, it's not even above average. I think they're going to get rocked in the playoffs, to be honest with you. Yes, I love Max Scherzer, but, it's not been peak Max, has it? He's gutting it out there. I guess, you believe in the guts on the mound, but he's not what he was. I just think there's a lot of holes in that pitching staff, and they might well get pretty exposed in a playoff series. So level of confidence is not high that they're going to do well in the playoffs. What are we doing here? I guess I'll say 38. that's
we didn't do a number. Scale. Yeah.
You didn't do a number, but I'm doing a number.
It's a good number. I'm not far off you with the number.
Yeah, you think that's a good number?
I think it's a good number.
I think the Pokemon that looks most like washing machine tissue man of the original 151, which is all we're recognising.
I've got the pictures in front of me now.
It's probably Primeape, I would say. I mean, if you gave a washing machine tissue like little arms, stumpy arms and legs, it would look a bit like Primeape.
Okay.
Depending on the size of the tissue.
I was thinking the one that looks like a butterfly, Butterfree. Is that any good?
No, not really.
Okay, right. Well, one of those then. There you go. Butter-free washing machine tissue man.
Good choice. Yeah, I think I might believe in them a little bit more than you guys, just because I think the lineup is really, really good.
49.
Like maybe one of the best in the American League. This Ernie Clement breakout is somewhat shocking, and then all the guys that needed to be good have been good. But yeah, I do think the rotation is a concern, and that does tend to matter in the playoffs. So maybe I bump them up to, what number did you say? 49. I'll give them like 52, middle of the pack. On what are we calling your scale, Rob? You can have a think about what we're calling it as we talk about the next team, who are the Boston Red Sox. Oh, sorry, the Pokemon for the Jays. I had Pidgeot in that, when you first greet them as a little Pidgey, you don't think much of them, but actually as the season's gone on and they have evolved, I'm giving them a lot more respect as a genuine threat. Let's talk Red Sox. Darius, why don't you start us off with your views on the Red Sox and how much you believe in them maybe getting it all together in time for an October run?
I feel like on sort of any given week, you could have thought that the Red Sox were terrible or amazing this season, and what they arrive at, in those weeks in October is going to determine how they go. There's obviously some very talented players on this team. Alex Bregman loves to hit in Boston, we know. Roman Anthony looks like he's going to be a pretty great player. Bully Abreu having an excellent season. Maybe they get a bit more out of, Christian Campbell if he comes back from the minors. Cedano Rafaela's taken a level up. So, I like quite a few of the pieces in the lineup. The pitching is I do not know. Walker Buehler has been a mess for most of this season, but he might just be Walker effing Buehler in the playoffs because that's what he does. He was terrible last season and then he was great in the playoffs. Garrett Crochet is a stud. Again, Giolito, he looks great, and then the next inning he looks like he might knock anybody out. I just don't know with the Red Sox. I think they could be immediately swept or go all the way. So I guess I'm looking for the most variance possible here. I don't know what the most random Pokemon is that could just give you anything. I'm trying to think of what is like chaos personified in a Pokemon.
I wrote in my notes Gengar, but I can't remember why. But I feel like he's quite a chaotic Pokemon.
Gengar is quite a chaotic Pokemon. I could believe that. Yeah. So maybe it's Gengar. I feel like
what number on your scale? Because there's all these numbered Pokemon. I can tell you which one it comes out as.
There you go.
Oh, you're just going to give it whatever number I tell you?
Yeah, you give me the number. I'll tell you which Pokemon it is.
I feel like I believe in them a bit more than the Blue Jays, but maybe not a super amount. So 47.
47 is looks like a sort of a crab. Parasect.
Yeah, that's some sort of insect with a mushroom on its back, right?
Okay, I saw crab, but fine if that's what that is. That's all good. That's all.
There
good.
is a crab. There are two crabs, but that's different Pokemon. One of them is called Krabby, I think.
Come on, Rob,
Krabby.
keep up, mate.
That's creative,
innovative,
fantastic. Sorry, right? Yes, keep it moving. Absolutely.
Any further views on the Red Sox from you? Yeah,
I do actually. I'm a little bit more. I'm a bit more on the Red Sox. I think again, run differential. They are hitting it hard, and it's a slow start that's kind of disguised where they've been at, and they got a lot of guys who are going to be good on their day. Rotation wise, like Brian Bayo is terrible or brilliant. Lucas Giolito still got that. Dustin May, who knows at this point. But the Garrett Crochet, you only need 3 of these guys to be any damn good in the postseason, and I just feel like they sort of got it. I don't know why Rob Ref Snyder is still on the bench. How that man is still drawing a wage, I don't know. Lovely chap by all intents and purposes, but he's been kicking around bang average for donkey's years. Abraham Toro is still playing on that team. I don't know how it's working, but it's working. But then you look at the rest is solid. We're lacking stars a little bit, absolutely. But then over the last few years, is stars versus stars and scrubs teams, and the teams who are just genuinely they got a bit going on for them. Yeah, absolutely. Those are the teams, and I think they got a bit about them. So I'm going to give them more of a 63. I'm kind of about them. I'm a 63. I quite like the Red Sox. I think they've got a really good chance of taking that pennant. I don't think they're the favourites, but I don't think they're a million miles off. Yeah, I don't think you can count the Red Sox out. So I've got them as the Lint Beast. That is the Pokemon I've got them down. The Lint Beast.
The Lint
as in
Beast.
things that still come out of your pocket.
Yeah, I think I'm more sceptical than you. Partly just a gut feeling of like how this team's played all season. I just don't see them being able to keep it all together for a whole month in October. Like maybe they'll sweep the first series, but then it will fall apart for them in the next one. They've just been that. I've been like waiting for it all to click, and it hasn't happened really. Yeah, and yet they're still in contention. And Crochet is an ace, a legit ace, and that always helps in October when you can throw him out twice in a series. They've got a good enough lineup that maybe if Christian Campbell can bash the door down AAA, gets better with him coming back next month. But yeah, they just don't give me the feeling of a championship caliber team right now. Would happily be proven wrong, but I would put them more around the 50 mark in terms of my level of confidence, or middle of the pack. That the upside's
Diglett.
there, but Diglett exactly. But I don't have strong belief in them turning into a wagon. Let's do.
We really
Yankees.
should have made the scale to be 1 to 151 for this to work.
That would have made way more sense, but no. This is the semi pocket monster scale of
Too late
15
now.
to 87. You can't go full pocket monster scale on the first go. You have to start with the semi.
Yeah, let's do Yankees.
Semi pocket monster. No, sorry.
So anyway, on to the Yankees. Hang on.
I thought we were three games back. Aren't the Yankees further out?
I don't think so, are they?
Oh, the wild card.
Of a wild card, no.
Sorry.
They're in the
I thought we
playoffs
were
right
talking
now.
about divisions.
They're
yeah,
in
no,
the-
they are.
Rob's eliminated them already.
Wow, I think we know where his confidence
15.
level stands.
I'm giving them the full Bulbasaur. Carry on.
Bulbasaur it is for the Yankees. They're another strange team. Like I don't know how they've managed to find themselves in third place in this division, considering how good they looked in the first month or two. But it all just doesn't really feel right for them this year, does it? Obviously, Judge is still being incredible. They've even managed to somewhat keep Stanton healthy. They're getting bits from the rest of the lineup, but not really enough. And then, the rotation just hasn't really stood up and found itself, any kind of credibility, has it? I think obviously they massively miss Garrett Cole, but I think even behind him, no one really has managed to make that step up to become a reliable every fifth day guy. Which, you need multiple of those really if you're going to compete in the playoffs. And obviously the bullpen, Devin Williams, I don't even know where you even pitch him at this point. I think he's blown like the last 5 save chances he's been given, and that doesn't tend to go down well in the Bronx. So it all just feels a little bit dysfunctional right now. There's enough talent, I think, on this team for them to, get into the postseason again and get hot and maybe make it back to the World Series. They were very good last October, but right now I don't see it. My confidence would be sub 50 probably on Rob's scale. Let's say 46 for your numbers.
Oh yeah, it's a solid Paris.
Oh yeah, Paris it is. Rob, what do you think of the Yankees?
The Yankees. I think there's something wrong in the psyche. There's no way the team that is playing this well should just click and change. Now, there's happened to a couple of teams, so perhaps there's some bull shenanigans going on, or I don't know what it is, but it's clicked from such dominance. Like they were the beast Yankees that we thought they were supposed to be, and they've fallen apart. Now, we're talking about a team that is still bound for the playoffs at this point, but I think a lot of people are starting to think like it's probably not going to be the Yankees in the playoffs. Like they are looking dreadful at the moment. I mean, whenever the Yankees start going bad, for some reason the defense just falls off a cliff, and I don't know if that's confidence stuff. It's the way they're doing the mental conditioning there, the pressure from the stands. I don't know, but it feels like when it gets on them, it gets on them. And I don't want to sound too much like, call in radio from, these guys just aren't trying hard enough. But my God, like something has happened here, and it is not to do with the way these guys are skilled, because they were doing it just fine for the first part of the season. Now it's just fallen off a cliff, and a team like the Yankees, with the start they had, to think they are even considering dropping out of the playoff race is quite insane. You got guys like Devin Williams, who you mentioned, who I would have been burning to get a play like Devin Williams on my team, and now he has been dross recently, absolute dross. And I think it was epitomised by that capitulation against the Marlins just after the deadline, when they bolstered it all. They got the new guys in, and it all just went to hell, And the defense has been a disaster. So Yankees, it's hard to say. As a team, I think they're an awful lot better than where they are. Something needs to get them out their funk. I've never really thought about a manager firing actually having much impact before, but surely this is the sort of thing. Like, these guys need to think they can win again, and get back to basics, fundamentals, blah blah blah, all of that. Like, they can do it, but they're not. So what's the bit that's missing here? So Yankees right now are 23s on the scale. They are bottom feeders, and that's not based on talent. That's based on something stinking in that clubhouse. Oh, and that will be the crumpled Rosito. I don't know Pokemon.
You're mute, Ben.
That was a smart move from me. Sorry, I was really saying something quite verbose there and insightful, but I can't remember what it was now. It does feel a little bit like Aaron Boone is managing for his job here, doesn't it? I think Yankees fans have been calling for his job pretty much every week for the last, 6 years, ever since he started in the role. But he certainly feels like he's under the firing line, and maybe Cashman too. Again, unthinkable a few years ago when Yankee fans loved him, but there may be questions around the way this roster is constructed at this point and what they've done to build this team out, given how good they were last year. Darius, anything to add to what Rob said? Are you more optimistic about the Yankees than he is?
No, not really. The vibes are rancid. I just want to add that I think the Yankees are Machamp because they've got a lot of power and a lot of arms, but none of it's really working that well, and you can tell that guy wouldn't be any good in the field. So I think my confidence is probably pretty low in the Yankees right now. I'm going to say 34.
34 is a Nidoking.
I think that works. Yeah. Sure.
Also not that mobile.
Just like Giancarlo Stanton.
Quicker than Stanton, though, yeah.
Stanton is at least mashing.
Stanton is mashing, yeah. I mean, the lineup actually, it hasn't been that bad. Grisham's been great. They just traded for Ryan McMahon, Rockies legend, who I don't think he's done much since he got to the Yankees, but the lineup's not bad.
I fear for Anthony Volpe.
Yeah, Volpe. He's doing that thing where he's got like a 280 OBP with like 20 home runs and 20 steals and terrible defense, but
it can't catch the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, I think New York is not the right place for Anthony Volpe to be. Let's say that.
He'll go to Detroit and be a 4-win player.
Detroit was exactly what I was thinking.
Anyway,
Scott Harris, I'm sure, would say, please give me Anthony Volpe for free.
Speaking of Detroit, let's transition to the Central and talk about the Tigers. I'll let you go first on this one, Darius. They, in my mind, seem like one of the teams we can be more confident about. Would you agree with that assessment?
I don't know. It's if you'd asked me like a month ago, I think I would have been a lot more confident. The fact that they're letting the Guardians creep back into a race that should never have been a race is a little bit nerve-wracking to me. I feel like maybe they're not dissimilar from kind of like the Red Sox in that obviously Skubal is a stud in the rotation, but then I'm really not that sure about the rest of the pitching staff. And they're kind of mid overall, unlike the Red Sox. They've had some good offensive performances from guys you wouldn't necessarily expect to be great. But also, there's been some pretty concerning signs. I think Riley Green's strikeout rate is like nearly 40% over the last month. Yes, Javi Baez had that little resurgence, but his line is starting to look a lot more Javi Baez like now. And there's not a lot of depth there. It's not a lineup that you're like, here's all the studs here. I think they could look pretty weak when they get into the playoffs. So I also don't know that I have a lot of confidence in the Tigers. I think maybe a bit more than the Yankees, just because I don't feel like they're in quite the same sort of vibes downward spiral that the Yankees are at the moment, and they're probably not going to get their fans giving them quite as hard a time as the Yankees are having. But I think I'm more confident in the Red Sox, actually. So maybe like a 41.
41 is a Zubat. It's got bat in it. That can't be bad. That's got to be a good sign.
That's true.
Positive for baseball purposes.
Bob, that's useful.
How do you see the Tigers?
It's the one that looks. Is there a Pokemon that looks like a tiger?
I mean, there's a couple of cats.
A Growlithe.
Growlithe and Arcanine.
Arcanine is probably the.
Righto. Okay, they look like tigers to me in the pictures I'm looking at. Anyway,
I like tiger stripes. We'll take it.
The Tigers, I think they've done a lot of not having crap on their team. I think they've had some guys do a lot better than we thought they would. I think if you look at their stats now as an overall, everything looks great. I think the problem is if you look at their splits over the last little while, it's clearly on a downward trend. But we know these trends don't tend to last. Every team seems to be having a great run and then a dip. If this is their dip and they come back, then I have no reason to doubt the Tigers over any other team. They are beating up on a crap division again, and no matter how much we say, oh, maybe the Royals are good this year, or the Twins aren't that bad after their sell-off, or the sun rises, the sun sets, the Cleveland Indians are somehow still in it being rubbish. But yeah, the Tigers have had their division luck, but you know what? They're also good. They've also got the run differential. They've also right up there with the Blue Jays at the top of the American League. So I see no reason to doubt them. Once they get out of the dog days of summer. So if it gets a bit cools off again, maybe that's the kind of temperature these guys work in better. So once it gets slightly cooler in October, I could see them going a little bit further. So give me a solid 62 on the Tigers, which would be overly optimistic condom man, or 62. Things in my pocket. A Poliwrath. Poliwrath? Poliwrath?
Polyrath.
Poliwrath. Okay, yeah. There we go. He's a Poliwrath.
Sounds like something you might find in your pocket. I was skeptical of the Tigers coming into the season, then very quickly had to change my mind when they were the best team in baseball for the first half, and now feel like maybe I was right about some of the concerns about the lineup at the beginning of the season, because a lot of them seem to have turned back into pumpkins, the guys who had those great first halves. But overall, I do still think I believe in, look, having Scooble on the mound, similar argument to Crochet, right? When you can throw him out there twice in a series, I like your chances. He is just one of those absolute dogs who is going to win you a game on his own if required. And I like having that, and I think there's enough pop in the lineup, and I like the bullpen enough that if they can win enough games to kind of get themselves a reasonably high seed, I feel good about them. But if they continue to fall apart and that gap to the Guardians narrows and they limp into the playoffs, it feels like it could be an early elimination and a bit of a disappointing end to the season. So yeah, I'd put them in the sort of 50-ish, 55 range, just based on sort of the vibes lately, which have felt a little bit off. Let's talk about those Guardians who are just, don't hear a thing about them for 6 months, and you turn around and Jose Ramirez is putting up MVP numbers and they're a lock to make the wild card. It's just the same thing every year, isn't it, Darius?
Yeah, except somehow I think worse this year, because usually you're at least like, oh, the Guardians will figure out the pitching, and I'm pretty sure Cade Smith is their best pitcher this year, and it's not particularly close, and he's in the bullpen. I think Gavin Williams is interesting. I think
Gavin Williams.
There is more. more there maybe, but there isn't a guy there. There's no Corey Kluber here. There's nobody you're like, oh, this guy's going to put the team on his back and take him to the World Series. It's not happening, and the lineup is dreadful. It's Jose Ramirez. I guess Kyle Manzado's come around a bit. Even Stephen Kwan's not really hitting that well, and that's it. Like, it's just terrible. So I have no confidence in the Guardians. They have no business being here. I'm giving them a 20, and that means they will go to the World Series.
20 is a raticate. It looks like a rat.
Yeah, they're quite scrappy.
Like,
that works.
There we go. Scrappy, tenacious, not actually any good, but somehow still there to annoy you.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Rob, any further takes on the Guardians?
Well, they're herpes, aren't they? They're not very good. They're crusty, and they keep coming back. I mean, it's insane.
And this is in your pocket.
How are they here again? Next to my pocket. We'll edit that out as well. Just for the record, I don't have herpes. But the Cleveland Indians are like herpes. I mean, it's just how are they there again? It's insane. Like, the Twins should be there. There is no reason the Twins aren't where the Guardians are now. It's nonsensical, The fact that they're still in with a shout of this thing. What's that? Well, yeah, they give away the whole roster, absolutely. But before they gave away their whole roster, they should have been where they are. Like, what is Rocco Baldelli doing there? The Twins aren't where the Guardians are. The Guardians are they've been bad for years. Like, no one has had any faith in the Guardians for years. And here they are yet again, And if they get to the playoffs, it's gone in a heartbeat. Like, they're not getting anywhere. Fast forward a couple of months and we're talking about the World Series winners, but I'm giving them an 18. It's the key leg wunder. Like when you have keys in your pocket and you bumped into something, or you try to shift something with keys in your pocket and they've stabbed into your leg. So that's my pocket monster is the key leg wunder for 18, which is a Pidgeot. Pidgeot. Okay.
I think I already chose them for someone else. But,
we did.
Okay, fine. I will drop it to 17, which is a Pidgeot toe. Pidgeot 2?
Pidgeotto.
Something about pigeons.
I am excited to see how John Kenty Noel, Big Christmas himself, and his -1 WRC plus takes over October this time. Because you just know there'll be another random pinch hit spot where he'll come up with an insanely clutch home run. But he has been bad this season. On to the West. Speaking of teams that just do not die, the Houston Astros are back atop the division. Which I guess we probably all expected, but took their time ascending to the very top. Do we expect them to stay there? Do we think they're going to be another threat come October? Or is this a bit of a mirage, given sort of the way the rest of the division's played out here? Darius?
I think, the Astros are maybe more vulnerable than they've ever been. And yet, here we are again, and they're still in first place. And you sort of feel like even if they fell out of first place, they'll still get in the playoffs and be an absolute pain. They've got Valdez, they've got Brown. Having two absolute studs is going to get you a long way in the playoffs. And there's still, who knows when we're going to see Yordan Alvarez again, but there's still guys in this lineup that you're worried about. So, yeah, I think I have confidence in the Astros. Maybe it's just because they're the Astros and I shouldn't. And I could easily see the Mariners taking this division, and I did boldly predict that the Astros would not win this division this season, so I am kind of rooting for Seattle to do it. But I think the Astros are going to be in the playoffs anyway, and I think they're going to be a pain for whoever they face. So I'm going to give them a 62, and I'm going to say, well, yeah, they're kind of like the final boss, really, aren't they? They're always the final boss, so I'm just going to say they're Mewtwo.
So another Poliwrath. That's 2 Poliwraths we've had.
It's cool Poliwraths.
We definitely should have made the scale 1 to 151.
No! The semi Pokemon scale. 15 to 87, that's what it should be. I can't disagree with anything there. Like, I don't think they're going to win the division, but then I didn't think they would be where they are now. So they probably will. They're the anti-Angels. Every year you think, oh, this is the year for the Angels. We keep saying it about the Astros. Oh, this is the year they're not going to do it, but here they are again. And yeah, they're quite good despite Justin Verlander. So yeah, I can't think of, as most of us can't, the postseason without the Astros at this point. So yes, they're going to get there. Yes, they'll probably get to the ALCS again, despite last year's missing it. I don't think they'll win it, but they're a decent, let's say, a decent 72. No, that's far too high. 68. Sorry. What was I
I
thinking?
like how you said far too high and then went down 4.
Oh no, we've already had one of those. Okay, I'm going to go down 5 to Machoke.
They do seem to be increasingly beset by injuries, which doesn't help either. They seem to have suffered a good deal of bad luck, and even the guys that have come back, like Arrighetti, has not looked great since he came back from injury. So I worry from a depth perspective. So I look at the pitching staff, and yeah, those two guys at the top are great, but after that, slightly concerned. And then the lineup, again, they've actually performed pretty well, but I look at the list of names of guys who are like leading the way for them, and it doesn't blow me away, which maybe says more about me, and my views on Jake Myers or Mauricio Dubon, but I just struggle a little bit with those guys being the sort of anchors of your lineup. But it is the Astros, they always find a way, so yeah, put them around the 60 mark for me as well. I had them, as Meowth as my Pokemon, because that's the Pokemon that always gets beaten up in the TV show, and they're pretty beaten up right now.
But still comes back every episode for more.
Still comes back every episode, and there he is, smiling again, saying Meowth. That's right.
Meowth. Meowth.
Let's do,
and Team Rocket, that works well with Houston. So well done.
That's true, actually. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together on that one.
Team Rocket. I'm assuming that's not about salad.
You're firmly on Team Rocket when it comes to salad, aren't you, Rob? The Seattle Mariners.
I don't know what that means.
Don't distract yourself with that. The Seattle Mariners. Do we believe, is this finally the year, or is it another, heartbreaking ending to the season for them?
I do believe. I think they've got Moxie. Is that a Pokemon? Moxie. I think they've got that sort of like everyone's behind the Mariners. There's the lovableness of Big Dumper. They've got Randy Arozarena. They've got the phenomenal pitching that was obviously slightly absent this year with the injuries. But I don't dislike the Mariners. I don't think anyone can dislike the Mariners. So I think there's almost a group will behind them doing okay, and I'm pretty sure everyone other than the Astros are going to be sort of wanting them as their kind of second team. I can't really see who else you root for as your second team in all of this. So I don't think that's vibes is a good enough reason to put them there, but it's sort of starting to come together. I like what they did in the trade deadline. Suarez was obviously a big ad, and they got Naylor at first, who somehow seems to be a fantastic base stealer, and those two bits couldn't have slotted more perfectly into this team. That's exactly what they needed. So yeah, I'm fairly high on the Mariners, and I think there's a run in this, and I think there's a decent 72. Let's say 72. I reckon 72 on the 1587 scale. And I've run out of makeup Pokemon, so let's say, what else goes in your pocket? No, I can't say that. Never mind. Carry on.
I'm a believer too. Against my better judgment, this feels like a different team. Maybe that's more because of Kyle Rallian, just like the absolute fairy tale season he's having. They've got a guy who is legitimately like, you have to pitch around him. He's that good, and even then he'll take you deep anyway, which they haven't had really ever in my baseball watching lifetime. And then the guys around that are performing, like Julio, Randy. For once, you kind of feel like they've got enough decent hitters that they're not just going to be a complete walkover in the postseason if they get there. And then on the pitching side, I mean, it's been clear for a while, but they have got good starters with depth. Woo's been great this year. Castillo, Gilbert, Kirby, that's a legit top 4 if they can all stay healthy. I like that going into the playoffs. Obviously, Munoz has had an amazing season in the bullpen. They've got other arms in there too. Spire, Matt Brash, that is a legitimate weapon in October that I think could rival any other team. So, yeah, against my better judgment, I'm a believer. I put them around the 70 mark as well. But bring us back down to earth, Darius. Why is it all going to end in them crashing and burning?
I'm here to bring you back down to earth. I'm going to read you some numbers, okay? 146.
More numbers.
220.
It's more than 80.
191. 111. 50. These are Cal Raleig's WRC Plus numbers by month. He has struck out 40.8% of the time in August. Big slumper, as Bedenenberg dubbed him on Effectively Wild this week. The Mariners have run this guy into the ground, and it's been an unbelievable season. But you're telling me that he's going to come out there in October and still going to be able to do this?
Yes,
no chance.
Absolutely.
No
what part
chance.
of the Big Dumper story has been logical from the start?
I love this. I mean, even more stupid, Josh Naylor, yes, 11 stolen bases in 17 games. He's the slowest non-catcher in baseball. I've been saying this for years. Anybody can steal a base. Like, I'm fed up with people citing sprint speed. Shut up about sprint speed. It does not matter. Anybody can steal a base. Anytime you hear your fantasy analyst ranting on about sprint speed, just send them an email and say, shut up, and then stop listening to their podcast.
Ooh, wow.
Nonsense.
Spicy.
That's my sprint speed rant over. The Mariners are the Mariners. They've never made the World Series. I think the rotation is great. Everybody knows the rotation is great. I love the rotation. Eugenio Suarez, 5 WRC plus since they traded for him. I mean, the Diamondbacks must be laughing their asses off. They bought the dip. They got the peak production. They're like, here you go, Jerry. Give us some prospects. We'll send you him back. And now he's in one of his slumps because it's Eugenio Suarez. This is what he does. It's not going to happen. I want it to happen. It's not going to happen. I'll give them a 50 because they've had a nice season. And yeah, I like that they tried at the trade deadline for once. But
that's our second Diglett.
They're Pikachu. The Mariners are Pikachu. They've shocked us a little bit this season. Kind of cute. Everybody's rooting for it. But actually, if you took a Pikachu like up against a good Pokemon, you would just lose.
I had the same idea.
It's only 25. It doesn't exist.
I had the same idea with my my Pokemon. I went for Eevee instead. Cute. Everyone loves it, but probably going to be useless when it actually matters. Yeah, that's
not good unless you like apply something and level it up a little bit.
Exactly.
Right? That's
yeah.
the problem.
Yeah,
something.
You do speak sense. I want to disagree, but the Suarez thing is particularly galling. Because it's like, hang on a minute, this is the same Suarez we gave away 2 years ago. What the hell? I thought he was better now. Mariners fans must be fuming with that, but look, what can you do?
He'll come good.
Yeah, I still believe in Big Dumper. Yeah, he probably is exhausted, but he's not just going to turn into a pumpkin.
I may have you asked for that, so I may have gone a little bit extreme. But
great sprint speed run. Right, on to the NL. We might have to be quick with the NL because we've been long on the AL, so apologies to NL teams. But let's dive into the East. You know what? Let's just start with the Mets. I think they'll be quick. It's all falling apart for the Mets, isn't it? Do we have any reason to believe they can arrest this skid and be the team that looked pretty good for the first half, or have they truly turned into a lineup of a reasonably good Juan Soto and a bunch of people who can't hit? Oh, and I guess Pete Alonso hits dingers, and a rotation that is probably just as weak as we feared at the start of the season. Is there any reason to think that they'll turn this around? Do you have any confidence? Because I don't, Rob.
No, not in the rotation. No, I think they are the NL Orioles from that point of view. We knew that rotation was going to be a bit crappy. It is a bit crappy. I think the lineup will do enough to get them to the postseason. And from there, I think they're going to struggle a little. So, no, not particularly any faith in them, but equally not horrendous. So, give me a 39 on them, which is the fake quid, because you've always got a fake quid in your pocket. It's never a real one, and it doesn't matter how many times you seem to give it away; it keeps coming back in change. So, the fake quid, because they got a bit of money. So, what number did I say? 39. That's really a jiggly puff.
Perfect. No notes.
Yeah. It's a normal fairy, apparently. I have no idea. Is that good?
I don't know what to say to that, really. The Mets are a normal fairy.
The Pokemon I had was Primate, because the description on Wikipedia described him as getting angry causes Primate's blood to rush faster than usual, tightening its body muscles but making it dumber. Which feels like exactly what Mets fans are mostly doing at the moment. Getting extremely angry and irrational. Darius, do you think they can turn it around?
I was going to go for wheezing just because of the sheer toxic cloud of vibes that's covered the entire of New York over the last month.
Nothing great, is it?
Do I think they can turn it around? We said, what does this Mets rotation look like in August? Here's what it looks like. Not particularly encouraging is the answer to that question. I'm not confident in the Mets. They're plagued by similar problems to the Yankees. I think you can't super argue with Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto at the top of your lineup. I have more confidence in the lineup, but I think they got some pitching issues still, and they didn't go out and get that guy who you were like, oh, we're scared of him in the playoffs. And I think even if they do bullpen this to death, they're going to run out of steam sooner or later. So I think they're a fine team. I guess I'll give them a 51, but I don't think they are the super team that they want to be yet. And they're going to need a lot of work on the pitching side to get there.
Well, the benefactor of the Mets slump has obviously been the Philadelphia Phillies, who it doesn't feel like have necessarily hit top gear yet this season, but yet they find themselves with a 5-game division lead and probably one of the higher seeds going into the playoffs. I'm more of a believer in the Phillies just because they have those guys in the rotation that are experienced, that are good, that have been there, done that, starting obviously with Zach Wheeler, but Sanchez has been great. Suarez has had very good moments this season, and even the bullpen seems to be improving a little. And then the lineup, I mean, I don't think it's all come together for them yet, but Schwarber's an absolute monster. Harper, Turner, Real Muto, you kind of know what you're getting with those guys, and you piece together the rest. So I would be a believer. I have them at 60-ish on my scale, maybe even 65. I think they're a good
65.
National League team.
65 is a Alakazam.
Alakazam. That's a very strong Pokemon.
You weren't far off, because next to it is something called Victory Bell, which would have been very apt.
They have a big bell, and they
Should
always
go with that one.
want victory. How do you feel about them, Rob?
Well, just quickly beforehand, I did just ask which Pokemon the Mets are, and Tom came back with something called Psyduck, because he promises so much but delivers so little, and he's a little bellend. And Russell went with Onyx. Do those make any sense?
Psyduck is like just a little duck that gets confused and uses psychic powers, but doesn't do it very effectively. Onyx is just like a bunch of rocks in a string.
That makes sense to me for the Mets. Just a bunch of rocks on a string.
It looks like if you made a snake out of rocks, basically. That's what Onyx looks like.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'll go with that. The Phillies. Yeah, I believe in the Phillies. If you genuinely good teams, like who is genuinely good, and that is the Phillies. Like they've got it all there. They've got really good pitching. They've got guys who can thump. They've got the star power. They've got a little bit of depth going on there. I'm all in on the Phillies. I think this really could and should be their year. We'll talk about the Dodgers in a minute and how maybe they're not quite the power we thought they were. So I don't think the door is any more open for the Phillies than it's going to be this year. Then they've obviously got the Mets are going to keep throwing money at the problem until they're amazing. So this is going to be a good year for the Phillies. You're right. No, I'm not sure they're fully at top gear yet, but the fact they're not in top gear means there's probably more to go. If I were a betting man, which unfortunately some of the Guardians are allegedly, I would probably put my money on the Phillies this year. I'm super in on them. So let's give the 71, which is the victory bell, which makes perfect sense. So I'm going for that one. 71, the Phillies.
Yeah, Victory Bell was my pick for obvious reasons. The rotation is elite. I was on the Christopher Sanchez train this season, but yeah, top to bottom, they're fantastic. Dombo going out and getting Duran is like classic Dombo move. Like, I have identified the number one weakness of my roster, and it's the absolute shutdown guy that I can trust in the ninth inning, and then got him. So I have high Phillies confidence. I think that I'd like it if the lineup was a little bit better than it had been, but we also know that these guys, you you can kind of believe that Bryce is going to come up with a big postseason moment, can't you? Nick Castellanos will suddenly turn into like some stud right fielder and mash in the playoffs. I'm pretty confident in them, so I'm going to give them a 64.
64 is a Cadabra. I see where they've gone with these silly magical names. Okay, yeah, it's a Cadabra. You're muted again, Ben. Podcasting excellence. Oh, and he somehow turned his sound off. You're muted again.
He's done the old double mute.
I did a double mute. Good lord.
There we go.
Okay, I'm going to try that transition for the third time. Speaking of magic, the Milwaukee Brewers, what's going on over there?
Hey!
I'll cut out the nonsense in the middle when I
What a
edit.
link.
Yeah, there's something bizarre happening in the water in Milwaukee. Who, I mean, we are, they always seem to find a way to win, but they are finding a way to win relentlessly at the moment. I think they're on a 12-game winning streak, which backs up an 11-game winning streak they had a few weeks back. They've won something like 34 of their last 40 or something insane like that. They've been on a heater like no other of late, and I think now do have the best record in baseball. Do we think they're the best team in baseball? Do we have high confidence in them? I'm not going to cloud any of your judgments, but I'm a little bit unsure they can continue up quite at this pace, especially with their lineup. But Rob, do you think the Brewers are legit? Are they your sort of team to beat in the playoffs based on their form of late?
Are they legit? I think they're a good team who've got on a bit of luck. I think they've got enough of a lead now that I really don't think it matters too much if they drop off a bit, because I think they've probably got the distance between them and the rest of the league to make it stick, regardless of if they if they dropped 500 for a bit, they're still probably going to be there. The Brewers have got that small market team, not quite spending that bit to make the big changes that seems to have hurt the other small market teams, including the Brewers, in the postseason last few years. You look at the Rays, you look at the Guardians, you look at the Brewers, and they're just not getting through on that sort of magical quality they need for the last bit. They haven't gone out and got a Duran, and they haven't gone out and got the big bopper. I said Duran. Yes, I'm fully aware. They haven't got out and got that big bopper at the deadline, and that's going to hurt them. They'll get there, no doubt. They'll get there, and they are a good team, but they've not spent that little bit to make them a spectacular team, and it's going to hurt them, as it does every year they make it to the playoffs. So, give me a 66 for the Brewers, and I've got them down as their Pokemon as the surprise fiver, because when you find a surprise fiver in your pocket, it's always a good day. So yeah, love the vibes. It's a great feel, and that's where the Brewers are right now.
Darius, can they keep this up in October? I mean, even the rotation, I just don't believe in it really, but they do keep winning, don't they?
They do, and they are, again, it's Cleveland NL version, I guess. We sort of all doubt them a little bit every year, and I don't think we thought this would be a Brewers and Cubs race in this division, but they're hosing down the Cubs right now. And I think the lead is such that even if the Cubs make a bit of a comeback, it's kind of looking a bit too late now. That said, no, I don't really believe in this. We've seen the Brewers make the playoffs almost every season, and then they have this problem when they get into the playoffs where they don't score any runs. And it's not like you look at this lineup and go, yeah, they're going to score loads of runs. I think the depth helps them a lot in the regular season, and when it gets to the playoffs and it's kind of, we can concentrate, those roster spots into something a bit less. I think that is not a good thing for the Brewers. It's going to count. And maybe Andrew Vaughan is suddenly a stud. That would be the big bat that they've been missing. It's been 115 plate appearances and he looks incredible. So I guess anything is possible. But yeah, like Rob says, you look up and down this lineup, and yeah, apart from Yelich, there's nobody here who's really had that history of setting the world on fire, and Jackson Cheerio hasn't really gone anywhere offensively. So I'd like it. It'd be great if they could finally do it. But I still have a lot of doubts, and like you say, the rotation as well. It's questionable. Maybe Woodruff and Mizurowski can hold that up together, but guy coming off major injury layoff and rookie with very little experience of pitching that deep into a season. Probably not the two guys you're confident about hanging your hat on. So I'm going to give them a 54 just because they've had a great regular season and they're definitely going to be one of the top 2 seeds, I think. But
I'm not going
to predict they go real deep into this postseason because I think they'll get a bit exposed when the teams that can sort of concentrate on them a bit more and put their best foot forward really have that opportunity to do so.
You don't want to expose your little bell end.
I guess I'm going to say they're a ditto because they kind of look like an amorphous blob.
A little bell end?
But actually they can pretty much be anything.
Ditto. What's the ditto look like? Let's have a look.
I gave them Dragonite. Really friendly looking, but also shockingly powerful.
Ditto just looks like a blob.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Chad Patrick.
But Ditto can mimic whatever Pokemon it's facing. So if you're a really powerful Pokemon, Ditto can just become the really powerful Pokemon.
I've seen Dragonite, and this is what was introduced to me as a Charizard the other day. It's a big orange dragon.
I can see how you would get Dragonite and Charizard confused as somebody who's never played Pokemon.
They are both big orange dragons, yeah.
Right, big orange dragons.
Dragonite does look much more friendly than Charizard, though.
I'll give you that, yeah.
To the friendly confines and the Chicago Cubs, who probably kicking themselves a little bit that they aren't in control of this division, given they've been pretty good, but they've had to sit and watch the Brewers win every single game for the last month, which has not been pleasant. But they're looking comfy for a wildcard spot at worst. Do we think they've got what it takes to make a run in October? How do we feel about the Cubs, Rob?
Yeah, I think we were all sort of looking at the way they added over the off season. There was a bit of questioning to start with about some subtraction, and then they got Tucker in and got him for the longer term. And wait, they haven't extended him, have they? I think of somebody else. Either way, Tucker's great. I think Tucker and PCA on a flying on the right time. Like, he's not been great recently, but if they catch him hot again, those guys are enough to sort of carry the offense of a team and the defense of a team. So yeah, I think they're a well constructed, sort of solidly built team again, where they've added a couple of stars. So I could get behind the Cubs. I think they are upper half of the playoff field at the moment. I could see the Cubs going a little way. I think they're going to struggle against the West teams, but they just need a bit of luck to fall their way. And yeah, they're I think they'll probably peak Championship Series maybe. That's probably their peak for this year. But I'll give them a 62. 62. They're good, solidly good.
Darius, do you have a special slump nickname for PCA, who is running into the same kind of poor form that our friend Big Dumper is?
Yeah, what we're going for, like Pete Crow Arms Week or something.
Like, yeah, perfect.
That the fact that he got pinch hit for the other day is kind of a little bit indicative of what's going on over there. I mean, yes, the dude is a stud in centre field, but he has a 291 OBP now. I know he's not a guy who walks a lot, but yeah,
he swings at everything.
Is he going to take MVP off Ohtani? Question is rapidly fading into the distance now, isn't it? It's becoming a concern. Yes, the lineup is fantastic. I mean, these guys go really, really deep. There's basically not a bad hitter amongst the bunch. Quite the lineup they put out a lot of these days. That's fantastic. The pitching is real bad, and yeah, maybe Shoto and Managa can have one of those ace performances. But I think they are really, really vulnerable there, and they haven't got the kind of bullpen where you're like, oh, they'll just let the starter go 3 or 4 and they can turn it over and do the playoff thing. They need like Tigers chaos energy, I think, to make this work in the playoffs. I don't have any concerns about them scoring runs, but I think they're really going to struggle pitching wise, and you need good pitching in the playoffs. So for the offense alone, I'll give them a middling grade, but I guess I think they're about a 49, middle of the pack-ish, just because they didn't go out and get that guy that you're super scared of in the pitching side.
Venomoth,
yeah. Who are the Cubs? It's a good question. I didn't think of a Cubs.
I had the Cubs as Machamp. I know you already took them, but for the sort of so much offense but not much else reason.
Yeah, lot of power, no defense. Yeah, like maybe like a Hitman Chan or something. Like yeah, all attack, no defense.
And then, shockingly, there's another team to talk about in this division, and it's the Cincinnati Reds, who are just hanging in there a little bit, aren't they?
Really?
And they seem to be the team profiting most from this Mets slump because they have now snuck up to be just one game out in that wildcard chase. So I still would say, possibly, if every team we're going to discuss today, my faith in them would be lowest going into the playoffs. But Hunter Green came back from injury night before, and looked great. That would be a game changer if he can stay healthy and be just as good for the rest of the season. They've had some pretty good performances from the rest of that rotation as well, which maybe makes you think that the pitching is somewhat legit. And I guess the lineup, you've got Ellie and Dudes, who maybe can turn it on in the playoffs. Is there a reason to believe in these guys, Rob, or am I right to say it's been a nice story, but you're not making it past the wildcard round, even if you do get in?
I honestly have no idea. If I'm honest, I hadn't really noticed the Cubs. The Reds. I had no idea they were even there. See, I just proved my point. Yeah, they're just great. I mean, who knew they were there? They are good. Good luck to them. I really have very little to say about the Reds. They are missing phone man Pokemon, because I didn't know they were there. They've gone. I'm patting my pockets, and I was like, oh, where's the Reds? Has anyone seen the Reds? No idea. Yeah, good luck to them, but no clue. I can't have much faith. Let's give them a 22.
Give them 26. Darius, more optimistic?
26.
No, I'll give them a 24. Yeah, it's kind of fun that they're still here, but I kind of agree with Rob. You just sort of haven't really thought about them very much for most of the season, which is funny for a team with arguably the most entertaining position player in the game. But yeah, they just don't have a lot. And between Ellie and Hunter Green, they've got a star in each side, I suppose. But it kind of runs out quick afterwards. I don't really believe in a lot of these rotation pieces being what they are, but the real concern is that lineup. There's not a lot there. They get thin pretty fast. So I'm giving them a 24, partly because there's a pretty good chance that they're not there at all. So I think confidence has to be relatively low. I
24.
think they've got to be one of the fire Pokemon, haven't they? For we've got to get a red theme going here. Maybe we just give them like a Magmar or something, flamethrowing Hunter Green reference, but bit sluggish. Yeah.
24 is a great big snake. It looks like a cobra called Arbok.
She said look like a pirate.
Arbok.
Arbok. Well, hey, look, I'm endorsed it. That's,
It sounded for a moment there like one of your cats was trying to argue on behalf of the Reds, Rob. Did you get a sense of what
I did not know you could hear my cats.
the
They've
viewpoint
gone into
was?
evening zoomies. Wow. Yeah, they are going mental. So I don't doubt one's going to make an appearance in a moment.
There we go. Someone believes in the Reds. Let's finish off with the NL West then. And would you believe it? We do not have the Dodgers atop this division. The San Diego Padres have climbed above them. The Dodgers have been stalling a little bit lately. The Padres now game up. I think those two are playing each other this weekend, which will be very fun. That's always a good series when those two play each other. How do you feel about the Padres, Rob? Are they the pick of the bunch in this division? Are they legit going into October? It feels like I want them to be, but are they?
I saw the Padres this year, and it was a wonderful place to go. I really enjoyed myself there. They weren't particularly brilliant on that day, but that's just one day. I think this division probably just rests purely on who plays the Rockies most in the run-in. These teams are very well matched this year. I think the Dodgers are. I think the difference maker here, the real difference maker here, is the wasting disease that Mookie Betts had. If you add a full-fired Mookie Betts into the mix here, I don't think it's particularly competitive. I think there's a bit of gap between them, but that's not happened. Injuries are part of the game, and they've got to contend with that. I still think the Dodgers are a better team. They're an older team, but he's trying to throw all of the kids into to get a reliever. So what could possibly go wrong there? What could possibly be wrong with selling the furniture to get a reliever? So I still believe in the Dodgers more. I think the process is better. I think they've got the superstars. But the Padres are right there. They're right there, and you know what? They've been there for years and years. They've had the players. I still believe in them. So they're both high scorers. But I will give the Padres a 67.
Pretty high.
Pretty high.
Darius, any thoughts on the Padres? They feel like a boring Padres team to me, compared to the Slam Diego Padres of years past, and it's like even Tatis. I feel like I've not seen as much of his bat flips and highlights as usual. He's still having a great season. Are they going under the radar as far as Padres teams go?
I don't think they are. I don't think you're wrong, because I mean, here is a list of some teams who have scored more runs than the Padres: the Miami Marlins, the Washington Nationals, the St.
Good
Louis
teams.
Cardinals, the Los Angeles Angels.
Christ.
These teams have all scored. Rob, your Tampa Bay Rays
Yay!
have easily scored more runs than the Padres. The lineup doesn't, like, on the surface of it, look like the stats are that bad, but they just have not been able to generate that much offense. It's kind of surprising, really. It's not like Machado's been bad. Tatis maybe not quite the heights of peak Tatis, but still pretty good. Zana Bogarts has been fine. Not elite, but fine.
19 steals.
They've gone out. Preller's gone out and prellered all over the place and got Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn from the Orioles. It looks like an okay lineup. It doesn't look like a lineup that should have scored fewer runs than all those teams, yet they have. The good news is the pitching has been fantastic, but again, kind of not the way you'd expect. Dylan Cease has kind of sucked. Michael King has been hurt. Yes, Nick Pivetta has been a great signing, but yeah, it doesn't feel the same Slam Diego, we're super scary, and yet here we are, and they've just taken the division lead over from the Dodgers. I think Rob's right that that's much more to do with the Dodgers than it is to do with the Padres. And maybe this is the one of those weird twists where the year that we're least worried about the Padres is the year they actually go and win it all. But I can't help but feel that there's still a few question marks here that they haven't really answered. The rotation, we'll see if the pitching holds up this well all postseason. I guess I have above average confidence in them just because they do still have the stars, and they've been there before. They've had these battles with the Dodgers, and they've come pretty close to eliminating them last season as well. So I'll give them like a 58. I think they're definitely in the mix, but I have some questions about whether that lineup can get it together and really make you scared again the way they have in the past.
Growl live.
I'd give them Mr. Mime. Creepy.
Mr. Mime.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
The mime.
I think you're going to enjoy looking that one up, Rob. Not a believer. Just this doesn't feel right.
Mr. Mime. Mr. Oh my God! What is that? That is horrific. What is that?
That's the Padres run scoring.
Oh, that's horrible. What is it? That's not a. It's like a man. Oh my God! There's like two along. There's one called Jinx that's just as equally awful looking. My God! Why have I not seen these ones? These are horrible. No, I'm not allowing it. Mr. Mime has struck. Pick another one. I don't like it. It's horrible.
These are the things you would not want to find in your pocket.
In my pocket? God no. What is his? His hands look like they've got too many fingers. Yet there's the right number, but it still looks like it's too many. That is weird.
Let's close with the Dodgers then. We've talked a little bit about them already, but for everything we've just said about the Padres, they're still ahead of the Dodgers, right? Something is not right in LA. There was a bit of a Tungsten O'Doyle feel to the series just gone, where Ohtani was like hitting game-tying home runs and striking out 6, including Mike Trout twice, and hitting into a triple play, and the Dodgers got swept by the Angels, which made it a season sweep for the Angels, which anytime you get beaten 6 times by that team without winning one, that's a red flag. What is it that's going wrong for the Dodgers at the moment, Darius, and is there any way out of it for them to kind of get back to the team that we've become accustomed to seeing over the last, decade?
Well, I think Rob mentioned a major factor, which is that Mookie Betts is not himself. But you still look, Ohtani, Smith, Muncy, Freeman, like this is, you couldn't really get a better form. Like if you you pick the best quartet from any offense in the baseball, and I'd probably take that 4. Like, you can't beat that. I think the bullpen is a mess. A lot of these games they've come, I've got in to check. Often I wake up and the Dodgers are still playing, and guess what's happening? The bullpen is blowing the game. So that has been a big problem for them. And yes, the pitching is coming back. Yeah, it's starting to get healthy. We'll get Snell and Glasnow's back now, and Clayton Kershaw is, still got a 3.14 ERA, even though he can only throw 89 because it's Clayton Kershaw. But yeah, that bullpen concerns me. They've had some injury issues in there, and in the past, sometimes they've just been able to whack a starter in the bullpen and fix it. But that doesn't always work, and it just the vibes feel a bit off in LA. Now, we saw them limp into last season's postseason with no rotation and win it all. And I think when you have the amount of stars these guys have, most teams would kill for the names that I just mentioned. And I didn't even mention Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who's been pretty elite this year. So confidence is high with the Dodgers, but it's not as high as it has been. I think I've maybe got them kind of around the Phillies area, around that 65-ish, because it is the Dodgers. But, they're the Dodgers. They ought to be in the high 70s to 80 kind of range. That's where they ought to be with this roster. So yes, I have concerns, but Dodgers level concerns where we're like, oh, we're worried about this team, but they're still obviously going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd agree. And that Snell's back healthy. I think that's a big one for them. If they can keep him healthy, that's an effective ace that they can have in the playoffs. And you do feel like get them in there and get them as healthy as possible, and they can put it all together if they need to. Pokemon I had for them was Snorlax, obviously. Sleeping giant. Ready to ruin your day when they wake up.
Oh, yes. Okay. It's a big teddy bear.
Big teddy bear.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the Dodgers is they've given up a lot of runs, but they've also scored a lot of runs. And the thing they're getting back is not hitting, which they don't need. It is pitching. And so there's not a lot needs absorbing at that bottom end of their pitching, and it takes one of these guys to make it in the bullpen to just bring that up. And Darius is spot on. Like, they went the whole way with no rotation whatsoever last year. This year they've got a bit of one, so they're already starting from a better place. So I feel like what is coming back from them, the Snells, that part of the world is gonna have a bigger impact on this team than getting a hitter back or something like that. And yes, the 5 WAR missing from Mookie Betts would be the difference, but you could easily put that in the bottom end with the pitching as well. So I still can't look far past the Dodgers, and I'm very happy to give them a 74.
I'd agree with that. Well, we did it. Good work, team.
Hey!
That's all. If we didn't talk about your team, unfortunately your team is terrible. Better luck next year. But there we have it.
Sorry,
sorry,
in a
Rangers
Rockies
fans.
jersey.
So, go on, quick. Could either of you guys, maybe you've already looked at it because it is hilarious, but can you guess the Rockies run differential?
I have seen it, so I will abstain. But
I don't know what it is. I'm going to say negative 247.
not even close.
Negative 326. They are already considerably worse than the White Sox were last year in that department. And that's on a 2-game winning streak too.
I was going to say they actually had a little, revival. So before the 8-game losing streak.
Yeah.
Yeah, their run that's half. If you take all the negative run differentials, they account for more than half of it.
Unbelievable. So yeah, good job we didn't talk about
But
them
they're probably
today.
not going to be the worst team ever. So that's good.
Hold my beer, said the Rockies.
At least we can confidently say they're not getting unlucky. Let's end it there. Thank you guys for jumping on and talking through those teams. Good to talk a bit of baseball again. We always say we're going to be much more regular with podcasts going forward and then fail to live up to it, but I think we will genuinely try as we get towards the pointy end of the season to do this a little bit more often. As mentioned, we've got some good content going onto the website at the moment. Gav, I know, is working hard on getting some extra content up there along with the rest of the editorial team, so do check that out. I do also want to shout out the Bases Covered crew, who are doing the coverage every Sunday on the BBC at the moment of a Sunday night game, so make sure you check them out. Obviously good friends of the podcast. Hopefully we'll get a chance to maybe even talk to them on a show at some point over the rest of the season, but they're a very entertaining bunch that could definitely or definitely warrant our support, so make sure to do that. And yeah, get in touch with any questions, thoughts on what we've gone through tonight, Pokemon or not related, and we will catch you on the very next show. Thanks very much.